All right. I think I'm live. I think I'm live. Here we go. Awesome. All right, we are live. Let me jump on my phone, get over there and forward that to the group. Hang on 1 second. Oh, shoot. I just saw it. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Share to the group. All right, here we go. All right, awesome. Let's go. Welcome, welcome today. So today is going to be a little bit different than normal. Normally, I like to do a presentation, but I am super under the weather, although you might not be able to see it because you know, Miss Hyper, but I'm super under the weather today. And so I did not do the presentation last night. And when I went to do it this morning, believe it or not, Canva didn't work. And I would not say wait till the day before or the day of to do your presentations. You should have them done way in advance. But life gets in the way. So today, if you want the slides, I will probably create them and maybe redo this later, but you'll get enough out of this. Get your pen and paper ready. You won't be able to screenshot today, but here we go. So today's topic is I'm going to turn this off. Oh my God, I'm so distracted today. My brain. So I don't know if you've ever had a head cold, but I had something in my throat and then I started taking medicine. So now it's like all in my head and my brain is out to lunch. So if I just forget what I'm talking about, just ignore. I'll get back to it in a second. Anyway, so let me make sure I am spotlighted because this other thing was. Let's see. Hopefully I should be. Spotlight. Okay. All right. So have you ever, so we're talking about the engagement equation, just so everybody knows, there is no acronym today. It's just an equation. So have you ever walked into a room and you immediately felt like this buzz of connection? Just you feel the warmth of belonging. That's the magic of truly engaged community. And maybe you feel that when you go home, you know, when you're with your family, you feel that warmth of belonging and a sense of that. But if you are in the right community, if you're in a community where you're like, I can be myself, I can do me, you can do you, have two completely different, you know, personalities or two completely different just places in life. But when we get together in this, you know, little area here, everybody's on the same page and everybody wants to be with everybody else and help everybody else and do everything for everybody else. That is a really engaged community and it's magical. It really is. So how do we create that magic consistently and intentionally? And that's what I really want to go over today. And if you saw my quick live that I went on before this, I just want to tell you that one of the things that most of my clients say about my program is that I have created a community where they do feel like that. And a lot of it is, you know, who you put in your community, but the majority, and I don't want to, you know, like toot my own horn, but the reality is the majority is how you lead that community. And it's really important to lead, number one, with confidence. Number two, not have a sense of competition with the people in your community. Because if you feel insecure or competitive, that's not going to work out. It's not going to, well, it doesn't mean that your community won't work, but it will not thrive and it won't be that community where everybody really feels so open and how they want to. So the first thing we want to talk about, and the first piece of that equation is engagement. So what does engagement look like? It's interactive content. So if you're talking about your free group, And a lot of people are moving over to school. If you are interested in that, let me know. I'd love to hear if you're either on school or interested in moving over there. Drop me a school, SKOOL, below this video. I'd love to hear if you're interested in that, because we are probably moving at least our paid community over there. So anyway, engagement is really the heartbeat of having a thriving community. You need to have people who speak to each other, help each other, talk to each other. And in order to do that, you really need to have a couple of things in place. But one of them is interactive content. So you can use polls, you can use Q&A, you can jump on Zoom, which I find to be one of the most, effective ways to interact. Obviously, the more people you can get in a Zoom room, the more interaction you can get going on between them, and the more that they feel like they have that sense of understanding and knowing each other. And that is powerful. It's very, very powerful. And you may think, well, I have a really large community. That's okay. You can still get the same effect. I mean, obviously, the bigger it gets, we might not know everybody, but you will get that crowd that returns over and over and over again. Or you have different areas where this type of person is involved and this type of person is involved in this other one. So you need to be creative in your engagement methods, but I would just say that that's what you want to do. So interactive content, so polls, Q&As, Zoom, my favorite, challenges to encourage participation where they're all going towards the same thing. Again, somebody might have 0 followers, somebody might have 10,000 followers. They can all follow the same challenge, right? It doesn't really matter, because it's in the act of what they're doing that they're encouraging each other on. You see how that works? All right, personalized response. If somebody is, example, in your group, if somebody's posting and you can personalize a response to that person, acknowledging their contributions, the next one I'm going to talk about is member spotlight. If you can spotlight particular members in your community, I haven't really started doing this yet in mine, and this is something that I really have in mind for later on down the line, but that's something that you want to do in your community. You want to spotlight people and, at least say, hey, so-and-so is doing this great, or check out so-and-so's page or post, or have you noticed that so-and-so contributes so much in here? Thank you so much, whatever it is. That really, really helps. All right, the next one. So the first one was engagement. The next piece is inclusivity. And I've kind of mentioned this, and, the term has been changed into something that is not necessarily my favorite way to say it. So I'm going to talk about it in what I mean. And when I was a little girl, my mom taught me that when I went to school, if I was in the cafeteria and there was somebody sitting at a table by themselves, that was the table that I needed to sit at. And I lost my mom, sorry. Anyway, so that was the table that I need to sit at. So when you think about that, what does that mean? That's inclusivity. That means you include everybody, regardless of who they are, where they're at in life and status and, money and color and sexual orientation. It does not matter. That is the definition of inclusivity. I think the world in itself and the news, the media, whatever. I'm not going to go into a political conversation about this, but they've changed the meaning of it. What I mean is, almost the golden rule. We do unto others as we want done unto us. And the reality is we want to be nice to everybody. We want to include everybody. And it does not mean that your group needs to have beginners if it's an advanced group. I don't mean it like that. I mean that whoever fits the bill to be in your group, all of those people are going to be different. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's really hard to create a group with people all from the same backgrounds and the same economic place and the same race or culture or sexual orientation or upbringing or experiences. I mean, we've all had such different experiences in life. It's impossible, I would say, to grow a group that doesn't have a variety of that. So inclusivity means, acknowledging that you have all different types of people. You don't have to talk about it. You don't have to say a word about it. You yourself have to lead knowing that you want everyone to participate. Everyone's included. Everyone's word, everyone's opinion matters, and you want to hear it. And the people in your community will follow that. And if they don't follow that, their leader, you, will stand up and say, hey, we don't do that. And do not let that go. I mean, that is something where you want to kick people out. I don't care if they're paying, give them their money back. You don't want people in your community treating other people in your community in a way that you would not treat them. It needs to be of the utmost importance, the way that you value your community, you need to show that in everything that you do and in how you act and react to your people. And then you want your people to do the same. And that means if they're not, you need to stand up and say they're not and do something about it. Do not let that go. And maybe you can give somebody a warning. I'm not saying you gotta like have the iron fist, but maybe give somebody a warning. But if it happens again, you definitely need to give them their money back. As painful as that may seem, even if it's in a paid environment. Why? If you look at any environment, okay, it spoils it. If you're sitting at a dinner table and somebody starts a political discussion and there are two sides of the political arena there, the dinner is ruined because an argument ensues. The dinner is ruined, right? But if you're family, you have to sit back at that dinner table. Most of the time, I mean, sometimes that doesn't always happen, but most of the time, blood is thick. So you sit back at the dinner table, and maybe it happens again and again and again. I don't know. But the point is, it's easier to get back to it. But if you are a community of people together and you're not influencing how, we sit down at the table and the discussions that we have at that table, if you're not influencing that in some way, shape, or form, it can get away from you very quickly and people may not want to come back to the table. If you look at a work environment, those of you in my world are probably around my age, maybe a little plus, a little minus, but you've worked in corporate or you've worked in offices, and if there's a bad seed, if there is, a bully, or if there is somebody that just treats other people disrespectfully, what that can do to the environment. People quit their jobs over this. They might be well paid, but the environment is everything. Think back to a time when you really wanted to leave, and did it have anything to do with how much you were being paid or what you were doing? More than likely not. It had to do with your boss or the people around you, and just the environment gave you an ick. I mean, that's just true. So you want your environment to not give the ick. You want the opposite of that, right? You want your environment to be a place where people want to show up, where people want to participate, where people want to be seen and heard, and be able to talk about their ups, their downs, their highs, their lows, all of it, all of it. You want that inclusivity, and you have to be the leader in that. You have to be the one that sets the pace, the rules, the regulations. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a list of rules and regulations. You have 2 or 3 things about it. And hopefully people that gravitate towards you are going to be people a lot like you, or going to be people who want to surround themselves with people like you, or that people who will not emulate you or be you, but they want to live up to the same standards that you want them to live up to. Sorry. All right. So inclusivity, that is the next one. And that is diverse representation. That means you need to have a diverse audience. And sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes you may attract people just like you that, came from the exact same background, your high school. I don't know, my high school is kind of diverse, but just for an example, when I was in Miami, I was in elementary school and junior high school in Miami. And literally, you want to talk about a melting pot. It was a melting pot. And we had people from every walk of life, everything. It was such a mixture of people. When I went to Atlanta, we moved to, my parents investigated schools like everybody does, in the States. If you're not from the States, most people, middle class or around, do public schools. We don't do private schools. That's for like, really, really, really wealthy people. So we do public schools. But my parents investigated the public schools and wanted to be able to live somewhere near one of the better public schools. So when I went to school there, it wasn't a wide variety of people. And I honestly didn't actually notice at first. What I did notice was there were these little boys who were yellow. And I remember going home and asking, I think I asked my brother, actually, instead of my parents, but I think I asked my brother, who was only a year older, than me, why are they yellow? Like, where are they from? That's what I wanted to know. Like, how interesting, where are they from? Not what's wrong with them and blah, blah, blah. I mean, literally, again, in Miami, we have people from all over the world. So I wanted to know where they were from. And my brother, kind of chuckled, and he's like, Ed, my nickname, he's like, Ed, they're not from anywhere. They're from here. They have something called jaundice, which I obviously didn't understand. Google, whatever. My brother was my Google at that point, but explained it to me that this thing that they had turned their skin yellow. So just so you know, like, I didn't notice that they were sick, I guess, necessarily. What I noticed was, maybe their skin color wasn't a color that I had seen before. And so that stuck out as different. And I asked, but it wasn't a matter of, like, why are they with us? Why is their color with our color? It wasn't like that at all. And then later our school ended up being like an M&M school where they shipped in people to our school. And so then it was really like more of a mixture, but for me, it was nothing because I had already been, again, in my junior high, it was such a mixture of people. But when I first got there, it was very almost one-sided. And I don't know necessarily if that's a great thing. It is better to have a mixture because you get that mixture of cultures. I've talked about it a lot before, but I have a language school, small language school, and I prefer group classes to individual classes. And the reason is because of experiences. People come from all walks of life. They have different jobs. They have different economic status, different culture, different everything when you get groups. And that to me is a beautiful, great thing because there's so much more that we can learn. There's so much more that we can expand our horizons. You want to promote that in your group, you want to have that diverse representation. So that's the first part. Accessibility. You want to make sure that you have different needs and preferences, including formats and stuff. So if we do audio, video, Zoom is a great place now. They have the audio, I don't know what it's called, but they have the accessibility things that people can use to be included. I personally don't have anybody with any accessibility needs at the moment. So I don't know all of them and would totally welcome anybody in my group that did and would definitely add more things to it. But I think I do a variety of, I do PDFs, I do video a lot, which means you can get the, visual or the auditory, whatever. You can get it all. So just keep that in mind if you wanted to do that. Having CC, people have different languages in your group. Maybe it's not their first language. Maybe they want to go back and listen to it again in their own language. That's powerful, right? But again, if you're doing video, that's super easy for them to do. And then open forums where people can go in and discuss what you've talked about. That is one of the things that I want to start implementing with my Elevate and Engage with this show. So today is going to be the first one, but after the show today, I'm going to start a new post with a question. And I hope that you all will get involved and answer that question to share your view, your experience without fear of judgment. I will be in there to make sure that nobody else says anything, but I've never really had a problem with that in any of the groups that I've ever formed. So it's in who we want to surround ourselves with, and we want positive. I'm like a super positive person, so I love being around positive people. For me, that's important. But even if it's somebody that is not in a good place in their life right now, or is not that positive. I hate that for them, but I don't want them to bring that to other people. And so what that means is, yes, you can say what bothers you or what's going on with you, but when you try to, you know what I'm saying, like put that negativity, put that negativity onto somebody else. We don't want that in any of our communities. All right, so open forum. So again, after this is done, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to start a post, and it's going to be a question about today's show. Sorry, about today's show. If you have a great idea of what you want that question, or you think that question should be, drop it down below. I'd love to see that. I kind of have one in mind, but I'd love to see yours. Always open. All right, so our equation that we're building is engagement, inclusivity, and the third one is collaboration. So what is collaboration like? Collaboration is where the magic is. That's a real big part of the magic. When people start sharing and helping each other in my community, there's a lot of knowledge. You don't have to know everything to lead a community. You don't have to be the be it end all. I will always call in somebody else. Like in my community, we're doing, we do one day, we meet a lot. So one of our days we're doing a book review, and we're doing Think and Grow Rich. Not everybody had read it, believe it or not. So we're doing Think and Grow Rich. And, at least a couple of my clients have a lot of background that would facilitate that conversation. And so I let them jump in or lead or whatever a lot of times. Or if I'm doing something else where somebody else might be able to jump in and lead. I love for them to be able to do that. I encourage them to do it. I think of topics for them to be able to do it and even practice on the rest of our clients so that it's fun for them. It's fun for us. It's a great way for them to be able to showcase their skills and knowledge and to get feedback in a place where they know 100% they know that they're not going to be mocked or laughed at or, anything horrible. They're the exact opposite. They're going to get the love and the encouragement to go for it, and they're going to feel comfortable doing it for the first time. And then they can go out there and do it to the rest of the world. I look back at some of my reels, and I'm like, note to self, but sometimes I'm terrible about, I'm like a post and ghost kind of person, and I hate to be like that. So sometimes I'll be like, oh my God, I haven't been checking out my comments in a while. And I go back and I'll look, and, on one of my videos, somebody's like, oh my God, those eyelashes, I forget what, are atrocious. And I just laugh, people are going to say crazy mean things to you no matter what. I mean, if they have enough time to jump on your reels and watch them and talk to you about you, then number one, they have too much time on their hands. But number two, you're getting noticed. So kudos. When they engage to you, it's engagement. So if you want to try something out, it's amazing to be in that community where you feel comfortable enough to be able to try that out and to get honest feedback where people will say, hey, this was amazing. Here are the places where I think you can improve. Maybe you could try this, do this, blah, 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 blah. And it feels like it's coming from love rather than from hate or jealousy or something else that you might get out in the real world, right? So that's something that you want to think about when forming your groups, and you want to think about when joining groups. You want to be in groups where you feel that. So collaboration, get other people in the group to jump on. Again, we talked about challenges earlier. Challenges are a great way to encourage that collaboration in your group, or having group projects. Maybe a couple of people can work on one thing, a couple of people can work on another thing, and get different perspectives on what's going on. Also, peer-to-peer learning. You can have them share their expertise, which I also mentioned. I love having my clients jump up and talk about what they know and share. Even if it's an entire session, I'm okay with that. I want that. It's fun. Everybody else likes it. It helps them grow. It helps the community grow. I'm all about it. And then co-creation. Maybe you have things where you do events together, or you can create content together, or just things like that. I've thought about this and I haven't really done anything like this. I can't remember where I saw this the other day, but I saw some ideas the other day that I want to dive into that I really, really like. So anyway, you just want to think of different ways and be creative. It's your community. So whether it's your paid community or your free community, I need to bump up my game in my free community and get it a little bit more collaborative. So again, if you're watching this video and you have some ideas, drop them. Love to hear them. That's where I'm at right now, is I'm focusing on getting my free community, the one that you all are in, where we do engage, elevate and engage. This community, I want it to get a little bit more interactive, a little bit more engaged, a little bit more collaborative. So that's what we're after here. All right, the last piece of the puzzle of the equation is value. Value, 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 value. I encourage my clients to do something like this, like a weekly show that gives value into the community and lets them get some things that you're not necessarily sharing with the rest of the world. This is, in my group, this is where I share this. You want to give them content updates. You want to give them, my freebies, all of that. That's what I love to give to my community. So there's a couple of different ways that you can do this, but if you have exclusive resources, there's still guides. I read somewhere like, oh, guides are gone. They're not gone. You just kind of have to dig them out. But guides are still there. So you can add guides to your Facebook community still. You can, once you get your community into your email list, you can add resources in that way so that they can have exclusive resources that maybe you don't give to everybody else. You can have little pop-up parties just for your environment. And we're going to start doing that a little bit more in here. I used to do cocktails in collaboration. Give me a CC if you've ever been to one or if you want to be in one, but that is pure collaboration. And I love those. So I keep saying we're going to start them up again, and I haven't mapped them out, but we're going to. So I'm going to put them on the calendar. And then exclusive offers. Maybe you offer things to your community first, and then you put it out to everybody else in case. So for example, if you only want, 3 to 5 people in something, you want your community to have shot at that first before you give it to everybody else. And then, maybe discounts. I'm not big on discounts, but maybe you have particular events that is just for your community. That's fun. That's exciting. Some tools that maybe they only get if they're inside your community, right? A lot of our tools and resources we only give to people that are right here in the community. And then feedback loops. So we can talk about feedback loops. We did a whole show on this, I think, feedback loops, but basically we want to make sure that we're all aligned, that what are you expecting from me and what am I expecting from you? And we want to make sure that we're feeding both sides of that. So that is where we can find a thriving community, is aligning the needs and expectations and making sure that, we're putting out what they want and they're getting what they want and need out of that. And you are the one that sets those, believe it or not. You're the one that sets those. You can add to them. You can, obviously you want polls, you want questions, you want your community to give their input, because that might expand or, maybe even minimize. All right. Maybe even minimize what you're putting out there, but you want to make sure that, that you are letting them know what is it that they will get at, what they will get out of the community. That's up to you. So our equation: engagement, inclusivity, collaboration plus value plus equals a thriving community. And that's where it's at. That's where everything is at. I want to give you a couple of scenarios. So the first scenario is you keep your community close-knit. I'm talking about free communities for a second. You keep your free community close-knit and small and super duper engaged, and you're making 100,000 easy every year, no problem. Why? Because they love you and they buy everything that you put out. They're telling you what they want and they're growing with you. So you are moving up, moving up, moving up. Maybe you don't want a small community. Maybe you want bigger than that. Maybe you don't want to make 100,000 a year. Maybe you want to make 500,000 a year. You need a bigger community. So you grow that community. Keep in mind, the larger it gets, the less percentage of engagement you're getting, but you're still winning overall if that's what you're after, right? So it all depends on your goals personally, your exit goals. So your personal goals, your BHAG, which is your big, hairy, audacious goal, like where do you want to be in 5 years and 15 years and 20 years and 30 years, depending on your age. Where do you want to be really at the end? Like, what do you want that to look like? What's the perfect day look like? All of that matters, because the bigger it gets, the more problems you have, the more administration you have, the more everything you have. So, think about what you want before you create it, so that you're creating exactly what you want. Don't create what somebody else tells you want, or what somebody else has that you think you want. Don't do that. Sit down, take the time, think about, what does your perfect day look like? Because your perfect day may not be their perfect day. Do you want a big team? Do you not want a team? I mean, there are plenty of people that run one-man businesses and make them $1 million businesses, but you need to be very strategic in how you do things if you're doing that. Do you want to build a company that eventually somebody else buys? So if you think about companies like Procter and Gamble, and that's the only one that's going to cross my mind right now, but bigger companies that sell to a lot of people, depending on what you sell or how you sell it, if your audience is the type of audience that they may want, and maybe Procter & Gamble isn't one for me, coaches, I can't think particularly why they would want coaches. However, if they wanted an audience of people around my age, who are entrepreneurs, maybe that would work for them, type thing. So if I grew this to 100,000 people, would that be an asset that I could sell? 100%, 100%. Now, does that mean you should sell your group? No, just not saying that at all. But when you get to a couple 100,000, I mean, you've seen these groups that are really, really big, it's grabbing a lot of attention, and there might be people that, can see ways to really monetize what you're doing in a way that would help them. So number one, you're monetizing it because that's why you're growing it, hopefully. But you're also, if you're doing it the right way, you're also loving it and giving it attention, and probably feeling very protective of that group, because you want it to be that vibrant, thriving community. And when you build that, maybe you don't want to give it away. Maybe you don't want to sell it, but you also don't want other people coming in and ruining it. And that's why you really need to be very vigilant, or have some community leaders. You can appoint, I mean, sometimes we get people in our communities that are just gung-ho and they just love being in there. You can have ambassadors that help you out, no problem. Maybe getting rid of people that are not aligned with the community, that type of thing, for lack of a better word, the bullies or whatever. Maybe you want to have the last say on that. You don't want just people booting people out like crazy either. However you want to set it up, depending on who you have doing it for you. But there are a lot of ways that you can get that community going with some help from people in the community too. And they would be the best ones to help you anyway, because they already love it as much as you do. All right, so that is it for today. Thank you for sticking with me. I know it was a little bit shorter than normal, but I hope that it was as fulfilling as normal. So I'm going to go over the equation again, and then I can't even remember the name of the show next week, and since I don't have the slide, I can't tell you. But come back again. We've got a show. I'll put it up soon. We've got a show next week. It will be amazing, as always, on Elevate and Engage. It is at 11 o'clock Eastern every Thursday. If you have some ideas of what you want me to train on Thursdays, I'd love to hear those. Put them in the comments below. DM me. Love to meet every single one of you in my community. So send me a DM. I am trying to get in touch with every one of you, because I do want to get to know you a little bit better. As I said, that's one of my big focuses being so out of focus. One of my big focuses right now is trying to engage this community. So I'd love for you to let me know how, what you want to see out of this community or why you're in this community to begin with. And if you're getting out of it what you want, or if you're not, what could we add? That type of thing. I'd love to hear all of that. So DM me. And next week, this is a quick pop-up. We're doing a 3-day challenge next week. And if you have not signed up for that, send me a DM. I'd love to send you to the page. Just send me a DM if you're interested. It's a 3-day quick challenge with an offer that you have not seen before at the end. So there will be an offer at the end, but it's value, value, value. You know how I am. So come to that. Love to see you there. 3-day challenge next week. And what else? Oh, goal achievement. So if you're into goal achievement, I'm also doing a 5-day challenge next week. It'll be at different hours, along with Mike Harrison. And we have a group called Achieve Goals Now. If you're not in it, DM me or send me a link. Achieve Goals Now. And we are having a 5-day challenge next week. Next week is the perfect time to do this because second quarter is right around the corner. Second quarter is right around the corner. All right. So hopefully I will see you at any one of the above next week, Thursday at 11. We've got my 3-day pop-up that I'm doing, and we have the Achieve Goals Now Challenge 5-day, which is amazing, 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 amazing. All right. See you all at one of those, and thanks for joining today. Ciao. Hold on. I'm going to end. Okay.